Hello everyone, my name is Raijin and welcome to my reaction for RWBY Volume 9, Chapter 6. This is going to be crazy. I've got a lot to say as always before the reaction itself starts, so if you want to skip ahead to just watch the reaction to this video, you always can. If you just go to the playhead down below and scroll right on over. I do use my reaction videos to discuss the chapters before and afterwards so that you really know how I feel, but if you are just here for the reaction, you can always just go to it. As always, I do have a Patreon. If you want early access to my RWBY Volume 9 reactions, you can sign up there if you don't want to have to wait a week. And also, lastly, please don't comment on spoilers for any future episodes for my reaction videos, just to make sure that I can go into these things as blindly as possible, and that is especially important for this episode. Just to get into last episode for a bit, it was everything I could have. It was everything I didn't know I wanted out of Volume 9, or everything that I've wanted but didn't think it would really get to. It was incredibly dense on lore. After the encounter with the herbalist in Chapter 4, it is explaining exactly how the Ever After works, the process of reincarnation or ascending, getting a new purpose that is more in line with the with your identity. And I just, if it's not obvious by the theory video that I put out, I really loved all of what the Curious Cat had to say about what the Ever After is. I put out a theory video that basically, I think the Ever After is the afterlife, because I see everything that we've gotten out of it so far just completely looking so much like what you would expect an afterlife to be. This is not a place where people die. People don't die in the Ever After unless they encounter the Jabberwocker and get eaten by it, you know? So, like, people live forever here. You just do, right? Once you die, if you do happen to die in other ways from the Jabberwocker, you just ascend with a new purpose, and your memory's wiped and all of that stuff. So, I had a ton of things to say in that video. To go a little bit into it, I think that Littlest Penny, we've gotten a lot of parallels or different ways that the show has aligned Little with Penny. We're meant to think about Little in the ways that we're meant to think about Penny. There's a lot of things going on there. We got Summer Rose last chapter, so I go a little bit into Summer and what I expect from her this volume. I do, as always, believe that Alex is still present in some way in the Ever After as well. Jean, now, appears to be the Rusted Knight. So, if he is the Rusted Knight and from Alex's time, which he does look like he's aged considerably, so he could be that old now. We could get a lot of Alex lore here in Chapter 6. Neo also had a power play last chapter. She worked through the Jabberwocker copies that she made, so she was working from the shadows, not letting anybody see her, but still very much leaving her mark and trying to attack Team RWBY while they're at a very low point, with Weiss, Blake, and Yang being rather defenseless in being 6 inches tall. The Curious Cat stays behind to fight the Jabberwockers. The Curious Cat is fine. We don't need to worry about the Curious Cat. For one, no body, no death. No body, no death. They're fine. They can go invisible. We meet them when they are invisible. Curious Cat, totally fine. And we end the episode with Team RWBY now normal-sized again. And they've entered into a slower paced scene with Jean and Juniper finally getting to reconnect and have some downtime. So for this episode, what I am expecting is we're going to start up in the scene again with Jean getting some lore about what he's been up to, what maybe Alex has been up to, what the Ever After could be, maybe a little bit more secrets about the Ever After. Maybe not all three of those things, but if there's not some cut away from that scene, I don't really see a way for us to start somewhere else, or there aren't really any plot lines to pick up, because we're not really seeing things from Neo's point of view anymore, because Neo's been this hidden presence. So I do kind of think she will stay a sort of hidden presence in this volume. What I am also expecting from this episode is some Blake and Yang. because multiple cast and crew members have warned people to stay off social media, and that's exactly what I've been doing. I've been away from home for it's Sunday afternoon as of recording this. I've been away from home for a couple days now. I completely deleted Twitter and Discord and other social media off my app. I've stayed off my phone. I've stayed off YouTube. So I've made sure not to be able at all to be spoiled for this episode. I've gotten a couple of YouTube comments. I've not read them. And I do think that all of these warnings, which is a little much if I'm being honest, they only needed to say one thing, and yet we have like 10 different... I'm exaggerating, but like a little too much has been said about how how crazy impactful this episode is going to be, how people are going to go nuts, not tag their spoilers and things like that, which is understandable, but you only need to say it once, you know, because I think a little too much has been said. I do ultimately, because of all that, think that we are going to get confirmation of some kind of Bumblebee, Blick, and Yang, their romantic subplot moving forward along, especially very heavily in this chapter, because we do still have a scene with the two of them on the bridge in the clouds. The clouds are colored differently depending on their emotions and things like that, perhaps. But if it is not them, if it is not Blake and Yang, for some odd reason, I have gone back and forth on that. I do think it will be them, but if it is not, I have come up with a couple other oddball theories, out there theories, that it could also potentially be. The first thing, Pyrrha Nikos, seeing her again would definitely be something people would go wild about. I know I would, because here's the thing. We know, it has been confirmed that Pyrrha Nikos does actually have a Maya model, not a poser model that was used in Volume 3, despite everything else being animated and done in Maya. Pyrrha Nikos does have a Maya model now because she is in the Justice League crossover movie. That has been confirmed. She is in it. So if they have her for that, maybe they could also use her for this too. One really out there, and I don't think it's going to happen this way, but if it does, I would be I would be able to say that I called it. One way that I do think Pyrrha Nikos could be used if she is in this is that she is the Lively Carpenter. In episode 4, Weiss says, why couldn't we have met up with the Lively Carpenter or the Rusted Knight? One was sweet, one was handsome. And I just think that, well, if Jean's the Rusted Knight, and Jean and Pyrrha are often two characters mentioned in the same breath together, Pyrrha's sweet. Pyrrha's incredibly sweet, you know? One was sweet, one was handsome. I think that could be something. I think it is? No. But I will be able to say that I called it. And as well, in this episode would be the perfect time to see Pyrrha, because, well, if we're going to get Jean backstory, and if I'm right about the whole afterlife thing, Pyrrha Nikos would be here in some form, we would probably see her in some way. I don't see a better episode at the moment to get more Pyrrha lore than this episode. And Summer Rose buildup could be another thing, right? Volume 9, I do see Volume 9 ending with a big character moment for Ruby. I think Summer is going to have a very, very important role in that, because you can't have a Ruby Rose-centric volume without Summer. You can't get to the deepest parts of Ruby's character, her motivations, what makes her Ruby, without mentioning Summer. And we've had seasons upon seasons of Summer buildup. So I don't necessarily know if she'll be in this episode, but she's coming in Volume 9 at some point. That's just a foregone conclusion for me. I don't see a Volume 9 that does not in some way include Summer. I am thinking that we are going to see Neo in this episode in some way as well, just because she has... It's weird because, like, as much as Neo has been in the shadows, and I do think that it's going to continue kind of being that for her, we've also barely seen her. She's been in 3 episodes, technically. She was in the premiere, which is footage that we saw 2 years ago at this point. She's been in Chapter 3 is her formal introduction into the Ever After, and then Chapter 5, she makes a play. So she's been going on odd-numbered episodes, so maybe in that way we're not going to see her in this chapter if it is going to stick to odd-numbered episodes for some reason. But I wanted to make sure I got to everything before watching Chapter 6. After an episode like Chapter 5, there's a lot to cover. At this point, Chapter 4 is still my favorite, and then Chapter 5 and then 2, and then 3, and then 1. That's just sort of where I've been. And I'm really interested to see where Chapter 6 is going to stack up with that, because this is a 20-minute long chapter called Confessions Within the Cumulonimbus Clouds. Oh my god. So yeah, with that in mind, we're going to get some Bumblebee this chapter. Wow, alright, I guess it's happening. Let's get started. Confessions, you say? I wonder what type of confessions those could possibly be. In which old friends reunite, and also... Well, old friends just means like Jean and Team RWBY. Probably some others as well. For all we know, it could be more than just them. But, warning, this content contains flashing lights which may potentially affect photosensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. I genuinely have no idea what I'm getting into other than, like, at this point, Bumblebee is confirmed. If we are going to have confessions in the clouds, that's... You'd just be in denial at this point. Still have no idea what to think about those 2 smoke wisps at the start of the intro, like with the blue, because it could be the relics, but I don't know. I'm not sure how I would personally write the relics into Volume 9. I'm not sure what avenue I would take to get there. Because, and it'll all depend on like what the Ever After is, what if it is the afterlife, how it connects to the portals that Oz made and all that stuff. Because Ozpin didn't make What Lies Beyond the portals, I don't think. I think he just used his magic to make the portals, the doors, to get there. Whatever lies beyond that could be the Ever After, but like, I don't think it is. I think it's just, I don't think Oz did anything. Oh my god! Oh, they've really updated the intro to get Jean there. That is awesome. I love it when shows do that. I love it when shows update the intro like that. Who is Neo? I want Neo to spend time. I want Neo to spend a lot of time as other characters. I really do. I want her to be another character for a lot longer than we have the understanding that she is. But are we back with Jean? Are we screaming? This is Penny? This is him falling. Oh no. Oh, I didn't think we'd get that with Jean. What is this? Oh, the... So does he have her weapon? Oh my god. Is that why it's been gone? Because he's held onto it, and that's why he has a reason to think that Team RWBY is with him, is because he's been having the weapon, but it's not there with him now, so where is it? Getting through the forest, walking through. I love the lighting on this. Clock. Oh no. What is that? This would be why he's been with the clocks for so long in the intro, but like... The 11th hour, time is reversing. Oh my god.
Wait, stop it, please stop.
Oh, is that Team RWBY falling? So he's traveled back in time. He's been forced back in time. Wow. And he broke it. And time is slowing down. What an amazing scene. Oh my god, that sequence was done beautifully. We actually saw Team RWBY get further and further away from him in the sky like that.
Maybe I'd never see you again. But I knew if I waited long enough, that you would fall.
You would, because they've been...
Just like
he
I
saw
did.
them in the sky. And who are those now? Is that Alex and somebody? Because that's the same as in the intro, probably.
It's really you, right? When I saw you in the market,
Jean, it's us.
That was done beautifully. I guess we're not gonna. Oh, little. I guess we're not gonna see any Alex lore
How did
then.
you find us?
How are you the Rusted Knight? And
Yeah.
when did you get so
Mature.
Oh God, Weiss. Oh,
What
Volume
happened
2,
to us?
Weiss would hate
After
you.
the rest of us fell.
I guess we've all got a lot of catching up to do.
Do you have anything for us about Alex, John? I need to know. I'm on the edge of my seat.
2 relics now?
And with Cinder, the ability to get another.
She
Yeah,
doesn't know where the beacon relic is. Well, there's that to be thankful for at least.
yeah. And now the relics
We
are being
lost the
mentioned
compass
again, so
and the relic.
there's a good chance
But
we're
we
gonna
got
see
everyone out
them
safely.
in this
John
volume.
said so. We risked their home to save the relic, and we failed.
Getting everyone out has to count for something.
Yes.
What good is saving anybody if Salem just destroys the world anyway?
That's how Ironwood thought.
Yeah.
You don't mean that.
Are you done? We need to move before the weather turns, or it's going to take us a lot longer to get to safety.
Are you done, John? They've just gone through this.
There will be plenty of time to lick your wounds later. Come on.
Thank you for at least acknowledging it, but my guy, it just happened for them.
So, where are we going again?
My village. I still can't believe you made it all the way from the Crimson Keep on your own.
Crimson
Not
Keep.
on our own. We had help.
Yeah, but the curious cat is not with us anymore.
Cat is okay.
The cat's fine.
What cat?
Robbie Damon is fine. Oh no.
That cat!
Okay.
Oh, whew, I found you.
Oh.
Why is it you always find the thing you're looking for in the very last place you look? Sean!
Oh,
my.
what
It has been
history
an indeterminate
is
amount of
this?
Time, hasn't it?
Did he
So,
go to the
how have you been?
Did they go to the tree
Do
together?
we know each other? Well,
Did they go to the tree together?
from the story.
Oh, John. I think there's a misunderstanding. The cat can get us all out of here.
Yeah, I think John would know
Time for
better.
this. We've got to get to my village. Don't worry. We don't need a guide.
But your friends wanted to go to the tree.
That's where you're letting them take you?
Well, yeah. That's how Alex got out. Right?
You didn't tell them anything.
No, that's simply
No.
not true. I told them plenty of things. A few anythings and lots of somethings.
Can somebody please make sense?
That tree
Yeah.
is death. It absorbs you, takes your memories, and turns you into something else. If you go there, it's going to erase you. They call it ascension here.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Wait, the tree is what causes ascension?
Yeah, so Alex is canonically changed.
The roots of the tree. Pretty curious that you neglected to mention that.
Oh, excellent penmanship. But you are not from here. It won't do that to you guys.
Oh, yeah? Then what happened to Lewis?
Who's Lewis? Who's Lewis?
Brother.
That can't be right. She had a brother? Why didn't you mention him?
Well, you never asked, silly.
Yeah.
It was always
So Alex got
this
out.
and Alex that.
We've been following this
Lewis
story the
didn't.
whole time, and it's not even true?
Or something else.
Let's go. I've got a plan.
A lot of good that's done you after what? How many years?
Can everyone please stop?
Can we
A lot to take in.
get out of here?
Looks like we're
First
stuck
and
at a
foremost.
crossroads, then.
The curious cat does it again. Gets them away. Does he separate? Is John separated now, or?
Welcome to a thunderstorm. A weather pattern that creates a physical manifestation of a mental or emotional problem. So, we appear to be at a metaphorical and literal
Crossroads, yeah.
How perfectly, stupidly ever after it.
And that would also.
As the pits.
The only way out is to resolve the problem or wait until the storm passes.
Are you gonna catch her now? That could have been a Volume 1 callback.
Where's Yang?
That could have been a Volume 1 callback.
Must have had something bigger to work out.
Oh, they do. Oh, do they?
Blake! Yay! What do we do?
Oh god, is this gonna start to get like the frickin' fighting scene in Kung Fu Panda? Oh.
Do we take the next step?
You need to believe in each other, believe. You just gotta believe, gotta have the courage, gotta have the faith. You gotta give each other the next step.
You know this would go quicker if you make up your minds.
Oh. The crossroads
Yes,
between
so
Jean
it's
and the
both
cat.
real and not.
That was Summer.
It all happened. Just not the way Alex said when she wrote it.
Yeah. So Alex did write it. So these... Oh, that music
So,
cue.
What? She just lied?
You have no idea.
What are all of...
I
Oh,
waited for you to fall. For years. But
Alex.
somebody else showed up first.
This is the other person in the
Alex.
portrait.
And her brother, Lewis. 2 siblings from Remnant. I
From
told
the-
them I was from there too.
Old days.
I was waiting for my friends. Once I started helping them, it
I
didn't
love
take
this.
long for me to figure out I was in her story. I was the Rusted Knight. But things weren't always the same as the book. Like Alex. She wasn't just a little petulant or inconsiderate. She was selfish,
Yeah.
cruel.
She's very much established not to be a good person, but...
Simply make believe and the rules didn't apply to her. Lewis was the kind one. The clever one. We went places she didn't mention in the story. Like the herbalist. Something changed there. Whatever he said to her, she wasn't the same after that.
She got a new purpose.
Lost all trust in us.
Or, well,
Started
not...
accusing us of things. The more
Yeah,
I
what she
tried
saw
to
from
get the story
it.
back on
Not a new
track,
purpose,
the more
but-
she distrusted me. Was it my fault? Did I change the story? I couldn't even be the make-believe hero.
Oh. That
I didn't make it
hurts.
right. The Rusted Knight drank the poison in her stead. She said she wouldn't let anyone get in the way of her leaving. That she'd do whatever it takes. And then she was gone. So, not exactly my favorite story anymore.
She got
I'm
out of
so
there
sorry.
without him after
Why
that.
don't you trust the cat then?
The cat's role in the Ever After.
Yeah.
I figured it out later when
What
the cat
they-
came back for me once Alex left.
What they actually are.
When people lose their way here, the cat convinces them somehow.
That it's...
Either to keep performing their role or to go to the tree and get a new one. The cat calls it healing, but it's manipulation. The cat was never helping Alex or you. Their purpose here is to feed the tree, to keep the cycle going.
Yeah.
How can you be sure?
I did see that theory at
The
some
cat took
point.
Alex and Lewis there. But only one of them made it back to our world.
Okay. Alright, so that shoots down the biggest thing that I've held true about
I'll
this.
feel a lot
But
better when we're together on that platform.
they have to keep admitting and build the... They have to build the bridge
Is that
physically,
platform or
literally.
something? Together. Platform.
No, it's
No
not
luck?
like that.
I'm sure you'll figure it out though. You're good at that. You think so? Well, yeah. You've got a really good brain.
This is the dorky volume
Okay,
1
that did
Yang I
something.
came for.
I like your bow. Thanks. It goes great with your pajamas. I talked about you, so you have cat ears.
That's not good enough, Yang. You have to say more stuff like that.
Cute.
Yeah.
Nailed it. even though I don't know what it is.
Oh, at some point they're gonna not want to build a bridge because they're gonna have to.
Never said.
They have to divulge deeper, and they're not gonna be ready for that. Oh my god, this music though. This is gonna be this is Casey.
You're an extraordinary person. You're always the first to lighten a situation. You act bravely when you're afraid. You do what you say.
Oh, this is so cute. She is strength, if nothing else. Gotta admire that about Yang. Come on. That should give you a little bit more confident.
Even when you didn't like me all that much. I was a little wary of people
Wow.
in general. But you never gave up on them, even when they hurt you.
Yeah.
You never give up. You know what matters to you.
All that matters, huh?
Let's make this quicker.
Is that so?
Any big truths we haven't dropped on each other yet?
I think there's something. I think there might be a little something. I think just maybe there could be something.
Did you just think of something that didn't say it? That
Oh
can't be
no.
what this is about.
I think it is, Yang. I think
It's like
you're only
a cliff.
gonna get closer.
And if I do it, I'm just going to fall. I think
But
we're
if you
already
don't-
falling.
I think so.
Say it, Yang.
I didn't think Yang would be the first. I gotta be honest.
I love you too.
That's gonna be it. And they don't even need to cross the bridge anymore at all. They're just at the destination. That is a good touch. Alright. Finally. It took you a bit long, but I don't think there would be a better place to do it than right with this in mind. I think if you're gonna be in the Ever After, you gotta, from a writing standpoint, make the most of it, and that really, really, really just did.
This time you were in the first place I looked, rather than the last.
Jean told
I think you
us.
know. I think you would know,
Oh,
Kat.
I thought there was more to the story. You're accusing me of something. Same page now.
You're the one who gives afterins to the tree. Why haven't you been telling us the truth?
When Afterins get all higgledy-piggledy, I help them return to the Ever After, yes. But you're not Afterins. I'm not taking you there to ascend. I'm taking you there because you all have such delightful information for me.
You pretended like you'd never heard of the story when you met us. But
Yeah,
Jean had already told you.
Once again,
Big ol' Jean
if there's anyone not to trust,
very short
it's Robbie Damon.
is- Wouldn't you say?
What happened when you took Alex and Lewis to the tree?
I don't know. She had told me she'd take me with her through the door to Remnant, but
It doesn't work like that for them.
just like all of you. You only want to use me in the same way I've only seen others as sources for knowledge and entertainment. Well, at least now I know what not to do.
Oh, I can totally understand why Robbie got this role.
Thank you for this lesson, Ruby, Rose, Huntress. I'll be on my way now. Stay with your friend.
And they're no longer at the crossroads. A little much? Gee.
Did we miss anything?
I think so. I think.
Feels like I've been waiting forever for that.
No fucking way. No fucking way. What a line.
There's
What a line.
something I've been holding on to for you. Was the first thing I saw when I was falling.
Oh my god, her weapon. Thank you.
Found it. I knew I'd caught back up to the top of my boat.
Oh, is she not ready for it though? Is she having a flashback to the blacksmith? What is this? What?
I...
She has a lot to consider.
Thank you, Sean.
Don't mention it.
Are you gonna take it? Or...
Sean, what did happen to Lewis?
Yeah.
I think Alex traded him to the tree
Yeah.
in order to leave.
Mm-hmm. That's a theory that a lot of people have
She let
had.
him out of the story. Good night, everyone.
I think so too. There could be a lot more to it than that. Oh, this shot from the trailer too. So, and that's the end of the chapter. Wow. Okay. Oh my god. Well, I don't think this episode could have been written any better. 1000%. I don't think so. So we have Jean, Ruby, Blake, Weiss, Little, and the cat. Mm-hmm. Holy crap. Holy crap, dude. Oh my god. Good lord. So that just happened. That was a lot. That was a lot. Oh my god. Once I saw the 20-minute runtime, I was like, this is gonna be huge. I just knew it. Because, like, as much as one thing that Volume 9 has really proven, and and this is definitely something carried over from Volume 8 as well, is that it uses its runtime. As much as, like, a lot of the episodes, and I'm sure in my reactions, as well as others, you're watching this, you've probably seen, like, people say, oh, that ended too quickly, that was so short. If anything, the longer that Volume 9 gets, the more that you really are able to tell how beautifully it uses its runtime. Everything matters at some point. The Curious Cat, the role of being curious, the way that they use their curiosity is just to ask questions, appear interested, get the conversation going in anything except for them, so that people don't understand what they are really meant for until it is too late. They are to keep your attention away from them onto whatever it is they're asking about. They dodge the question and they ask their own. I gotta admit, there was definitely a sense of, I guess a false sense of security. Beautifully done with the Curious Cat, in that I cannot think of anybody better suited to voice them than Robbie Daymond. As much as, you know, I've joked about Hubert von Vestra from Fire Emblem and Goro Akechi from Persona 5, like, those are very much two characters who you are not meant to trust if you really knew what they were doing. Wow. That... Volume 9, I swear to God, it's just giving me everything I could possibly want. And I'm not even somebody who's been asking for Blake and Yang to get together. Like, I don't ship them. I'm not in that community. I'm not in that side of things. I don't ship characters. But at the same time, like, this chapter had that. It had Alex lore. It had Jean lore. It had Ever After lore. It just gave me everything, right? I started off this reaction video saying, I'm hoping it gives me Alex. I hope it gives me John. I hope it gives me the Ever After. And it, maybe not all three, though. All three. Wow. It's kind of crazy. And we're starting to finally get a better sense of the end of the road, right? I'm just in this, like, high state, euphoric high state, where I can't even process what I'm possibly thinking, because it's just all been given to me. I'm gonna go back through this episode a little bit again. Once again, this scene, beautifully done. All of the time lapse that was going on there was probably an insane undertaking, but so incredibly worth it. They meet up with him, he takes them through, finds the cat, they go to the crossroads, trying to get to his village. Curious Cat's dodging the questions, until finally Blake and Yang have such an incredible scene together. Just, yeah, I mean, everything about this scene, just everything about it, I love. And I think that it was kind of clear that this would be a confession scene in the way that we think about the Ever After. Wow. I think if you were it was pretty clear to me watching the trailers and understanding more and more about what the Ever After is and how it responds to people, that this would be the confession scene. Because this is going to be, like, they're literally building a bridge to get to each other, right? They're at their own sort of crossroads where they can either move forward or not at all. And the Ever After literally put them into a place where the only way they could move forward was together, right? The Ever After, in other ways, with Ruby at the start with the mouse, wouldn't let Ruby move forward until she met Little. Now to get back to this scene, because I had to take it off my monitor because I couldn't stop looking at it. Blake and Yang, finally, it took them long enough. I've always kind of known, through Volume 8 at least, that Blake and Yang, their arc was being saved. It was being shelved for a future volume because they've already known for a while that Volume 9 would be a good place to do it, so it was being saved for this. I remember Volume 8, Chapter 11, Ren and Nora get a sort of confirmation, in a way, but in other ways, not. And it was like, well, this is a slow point in the story. This is the perfect time to put Ren and Nora together. Why didn't Blake and Yang get their scene after having been separated for so long? Shouldn't they have seen what they were missing out on and confirmed it? That would be why it didn't happen then, was because this would be a lot better of a time for them to be given their time, for them to have the screen time, for them to have all of these metaphors come true, come to life through this storm. This is the perfect time for that to happen. I've kind of always known that. Even going into Volume 9, if you've seen some of my other videos, I've very much said it's gonna happen this volume. And the way that it ends up happening is they are forced into a situation where they can either be trapped in it forever or move forward together. It reminds me a lot of the romantic subplot in the video game Apex Legends, which is a really weird sentence to say. If you don't know much about Apex Legends, you're like, the Battle Royale shooter? It actually has a lot of lore, and it has a romantic subplot between Fuse and Bloodhound, a pan man and a non-binary person. They come to a point where they don't want to confess, but one of them is kind of forcing the other into that situation of you know, please allow us to be this pair, this unit. And Bloodhound says they're afraid of love because of how powerful it is. And because they've had a loss and they know what it is like to lose that. So this kind of just reminded me of those two. In that, if it didn't happen this way, I could very much have seen that being the thing that keeps them apart. Blake and Yang have been so comfortable in being a thing, but both of them at some point, or at many points, haven't mentioned it because they're scared of moving forward, in a sense, not because of how powerful they see love, but because whether they're dense or just too comfortable, there is very much a fear involved. I don't think we've seen too overtly what has been keeping them from confessing, but in the absence of that, I think this is about the best their arc could have moved forward. So I think I've touched on everything? Oh, Ruby, at the end of the episode, does not take Crescent Rose. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. That hurts that she did not take Crescent Rose. That hurts because it means after having been to the blacksmith, she's not ready to continue on her original purpose yet. Because after having seen Alex's weapon and Penny's weapon and Summer's weapon, who I do still believe that is Summer, I don't think this episode really changed my thoughts on that. After having gone through that, Ruby didn't take any of those weapons because she wasn't ready for that to be her purpose. And now, she's not taking Crescent Rose yet. She slams the lid down because she's not ready to be Ruby yet, either. And that hurts. I don't see Ruby where she is right now taking her weapon. But I do think there will be a future confrontation, probably with Neo, probably with a bunch of Jabberwockers, where she feels compelled to take up her weapon, because every time on Instinct in Volume 9, where a fight's about to break out, Ruby reaches for her weapon and realizes she does not have it. Because deep down, she does still see being a huntress as her purpose. That is a part of her that is ingrained, and she's very much reckoning with what that means. She very much is, in the face of Salem and everything that happened in Atlas, and all of the consequences that they've been left with. She's still reckoning with what it means to be a huntress in that world, but she's not there yet. She's not back in Remnant yet. And Volume 9, In the Ever After, is the time to spend some time reckoning with all of that and pulling yourself up, getting your weapon at the ready, and feeling a sense of purpose again. She doesn't feel like she has a purpose right now. Once she's put back in that situation where there's a fight that's breaking out and it's inevitable that she has to take her weapon, that is going to be ultimately how that fight gets resolved, is because Ruby is now going to feel what it is to be in that environment again and ultimately see that as her place, as her purpose. And it might take all of Volume 9 to get there, but that is the deepest part of who Ruby is still being the one to stop all the bad in the world. That's how Volume 4 resolves. It's scary, but somebody has to do it, and that's what I feel compelled to do. A lot of people, I saw this one stat some time ago about how about half of Ruby's lines are in the finale when she's writing that letter. And it's kind of a way that people clown on that letter. People don't like how Volume 4 resolves, but they also just don't understand how character-driven stories work. They're not media literate, those people, because they're unable to see that letter in any other scene in Volume 4. They don't see that letter as the culmination and payoff of what Ruby had been through in Volume 4, even though it's very much written like that to begin with. And here we see it again. That letter was Ruby putting her foot down, expressing her motivations to Yang, who she wishes was there. We need to be the ones to put a stop to all the bad in the world. If not for us, then the people we haven't lost yet. So if it's not clear at this point, I am being fed. I love this. This is everything I want it to be. We're seeing so much intent, so much character focused, so much character driven narrative in Volume 9. And this is the kind of stuff that I've always known this show could be. It's culminating and it's planting and paying off so much. As I said right when this episode ended here in this reaction, the 20 minutes is just so jam-packed. All of these episodes, as short as they may feel, the more that you sit on them, the more that you digest them, you realize just how much they were actually doing. And I don't think there's an episode this volume that applies better to than this one, because we're finally starting to see payoff happening, and we're finally starting to see planting happening in ways that more visually matter, with the fact that the tree does mean death, does mean being erased and being ascended for the people who are here, which is very much an afterlife thing for it to be, again, but it doesn't mean that for people who are not from this world. The tree is a point of escape, a point of return. And that does also kind of explain Neo a little bit. Neo's potential role in this chapter. Neo was absent for this chapter. She was not in it at all. But at the same time, we now have a lot more context for how we should think of Neo being here. At some point in this volume, we only have 4 chapters left, which is kind of scary, but I do think Neo will have some kind of ever-afterly encounter where we are going to see some sort of metaphysical, metaphorical thing happening with Neo that will give us Roman Torchwick in the Maya engine, that will give us a manifestation of some kind of Roman Holiday and her backstory with Roman and what it means for her one thing to have been taken away from her. And if this is the afterlife, it would be a very ever afterly thing for the heart to never forget, and for Neo to find Roman again and be with her one thing in a world that she's had so much fun in. I do think that this is going to be a world that could very much be against somebody like Neo, but it could also be a world that Neo finds a home in, because Remnant didn't offer her that, and if in some way she is able to stay with Roman Torchwick, she's gonna do that. Other than that, I'm not entirely sure how Neo's arc is going to resolve. As much as, like, a lot of... I've seen theories about Neo escaping the Ever After. After this chapter, I don't think she will. It's been theorized for quite some time now that this would kind of be Neo's curtain call in the story, that this would be her last performance, that she would be removed from the plot after Volume 9. This episode is, I think, just about as much setup as we need for Neo to return to the story, because I do think that Neo will fill that role of being the sacrifice for Team Ruby and John to make it back out. I do see that ultimately as being the case. So as much as this episode really did shoot down my theory about Alex still being in the Ever After, because I do believe in John and John's backstory, I do see that all as enough. Okay, so like clockwork, I am back once again the next day to talk about this chapter a little bit more now that it's settled, now that I've had the time to process a lot of what's been going on in it. And I just want to start off completely by saying I don't know why I didn't think that Lewis could possibly be Oz, because the more you look at him, the more he starts to fit the conventions about what an Oz incarnation would look like. And I saw this theory from Kaleido Arms on Twitter, and it is exactly how I want Volume 9 to finish, to conclude, to play out. By the time you see this, I will have made a video, another theory video, about my thoughts on what the Ever After is, what Alex is doing, and now that we have Lewis, we have so much more potential for these theories. So go ahead and look out for that by the time you're watching this reaction live on YouTube. And I can't think of a better way for Volume 9 to play out. This kind of thing makes a little too much sense. Oz talked about Alex like he knew her personally. He talks about her in a way that somebody like Lewis would talk about her. In Volume 8, Chapter 9, he says, having not learned from her failure, she only succeeded in spreading it. So he says she didn't learn, and in a sense, she didn't change for a sizable amount of time, even though the story tells of how she changed when she returned home, or when she returned home, she had already changed. Here's Oz already saying that she didn't. We also have the Curious Cat, on the other hand, on the opposite side of the spectrum, saying, I could say, you could definitely say that Alex learned her lesson. So it's like, which of these two versions of Alex is true? As much as I know the show and the story is saying that Alex wrote the book, this kind of character is not capable of writing everybody's on Remnant's childhood favorite fairy tale storybook. That's not this person writing that story. So to me, it kind of has to be Oz at this point. And again, you can go check out that other theory video for more developed thoughts. Volume 9, overall, in general, it just keeps building on itself. Everything is so clearly, as of now, so clearly used as setup, and not just some random scene talking to the Cheshire Cat, to the Curious Cat, Robbie Daymond. We see a lot more purpose in all of those scenes now that we've seen Chapter 6. It's just escalated and built up so much, to the point where now Chapter 6 is my favorite so far. 1 to 6 is my rankings, but there is a general sense of it just building and getting better and using its writing in effective ways to build over time so much, to where Chapter 6 is my favorite. Then you have Chapter 4, then 5, 2, 3, 1. 3 is kind of lower, mostly because I value so much of the talking scenes and the lore scenes and the character focused scenes more than I value fights. Volume 9 is showing itself to be so much more of what I wanted personally to get out of it than I even thought was possible. Genuinely, I'm at a point now where it is my favorite, and it would really have to stop being aware of the story that it's trying to tell to mess that up. And I have way more confidence in the writing for what they've done and how they've treated setup and payoff in Volume 9 than to think that they're gonna start fumbling the bag on that once they're getting to the finish line. And that's gonna be it for me for now. I've said everything I wanted to say about Chapter 6. If not, I'll attach it to the start of Chapter 7 at this point, for all I know, for my reaction to that episode. As always, go ahead and look back at my theory videos, because as I've said, there is another theory video from me for this past week for Chapter 6 here on YouTube now by the time you're watching this publicly on YouTube. So with that all being said, like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. I'm Raijin Rising. Have a good one.